84 topic is go on a news fast. I first heard the phrase news fast from Dr. Andrew Will, who writes about natural medicines and spontaneous healing. Will recommends Will recommends going on news fast because he believes this has a healing effect on a human system. What he believes that this has a healing effect on the human system. To him, it's a genuine health issue. My own recommendation for news fast has to do with the psychology of self motivation. My own recommendation for the news fast has to do with the psychology of self motivation. If you go for period of time without listening to or reading the news, you will notice an upswing in your optimism of your life. If you go for period of time without listening to or reading the newspaper, you will notice an upswing in your optimism of your life. You will feel a lift in energy. But shouldn't I stay informed? People ask me. Aren't I being a bad citizen if I don't keep up with what's happening in my community? Shouldn't I be watching the news? In the answer of this question, I offered an observation that may startle you. The news is no longer the news. The news is no longer the news. I used to be that Walter Cronkite would end his program by saying, and that's the way it is. And we trusted that he was right. But today, it's much different. Shockwave has to the highest premium of all for the news story. The shock value has the highest premium of all for a news story, and the lines are now blurred between the evening news and the grocer tabloid. Tom Brokaw is likely to lead his show with a story about the woman cutting off her husband's private parts and as the National Enquirer. Today, the goal of the person putting the evening news show together is to stimulate our emotions in as many ways as possible. Every night, we will see human suffering. We will also see con artists and even whole companies getting away with scams and that victimize people cruelly. If there's a report on politics, it features the most venomous attacks between two partisans. If there's the report on politics, it features the most attacks, venomous attacks between two partisans. The goal of the news today is simulation. The goal of news today is a simulation. It's to take us on the emotional roller coaster ride. The goal of the news today is stimulation. It's to take us on the emotional roller coaster ride. It's a good program if we have been enraged by one story, saddened by another, and amused by at the third. It's to take us what the goal of the news is stimulation. Is to take us on the emotional roller coaster ride. It's a good program if we have been enraged by one story, saddened by another, and amused by the third. Is it any wonder that by programming our minds with this gross and frightening information all the day and in the night, we end up a little less motivated? Is it hard to understand a certain slippage in our optimism? Going on a news fast is a refreshing cure for this problem. You can do it for one day a week to begin with, and then back into the tablet source the next day if you have to. Once you start fasting, you will find your entire mood picking up. But what about staying informed? You ask. There are many ways to stay fully informed. The internet has a wonderful, thoughtful sites. In fact, it is far better to be informed intellectually than to be informed emotionally. There are weekly and monthly magazines as well as e magazines that do a fine job of informing us and giving a thoughtful overall perspective of the news. Don't worry about missing out on important news. Really big news like war, natural disaster, or assassination will get to you just as quickly during a news fast as it would if you were watching the news. Begin to experiment with news fast today. Go on short one at first and then extend the period of time as your system allows. When you do return to the news, be totally conscious of just what the source is trying to do to you. Don't passively take it in as if what you are seeing is really the way it is. It's not. They are not going to tell you how many thousands of planes landed safely today. Thank you very much.